Welcome back to the Rise Personal Training Podcast. I'm Coach Wyatt here with Coach Sam.
Hey guys.
And today we're going to be talking about why we lift so heavy. Okay, so again, congratulations to everyone that stuck around and made it to the sixes.
It's a big time.
Okay, we're here. Again, I feel like everyone's always asking me, when are we going back to the sixes? When is this phase over?
It's
and I'm
finally here.
Just wait, it's coming. But no, all we want to talk about today is really just why we have this focus, why we have this in our phase of lifting heavy for a few weeks and really trying to push our reps, push our or the weights on the reps and such. And so, the first thing we want to talk about here is really the benefits of lifting heavy.
Yeah. So a lot of people are concerned about lifting heavy, but mainly it's for the benefit of your bone density is a huge one. I know a lot of people, maybe aren't really worried about their bone density right now. It hasn't really come up. They're not really feeling any of that type of issue. Their doctor hasn't really told them, or maybe their doctor is starting to warn them, and that's why they're here with us.
Yeah, I feel like you have the two stages. I mean, one, if you're older, you start Googling things, everything you're going to see osteoporosis, osteopenia. You're going to see these words being thrown around. And really what that is you have, osteopenia, which is, hey, bone density could start becoming a problem.
It's like a warning sign.
You could start to lose some bone density, especially as we age. We lose muscle, we lose bone density, all that stuff. And then if it reaches the next stage, which is osteoporosis, your doctor will probably tell you, hey, you have osteoporosis, your bones are becoming a little more brittle. There's a huge risk of fracture, of breaking your bones and such. And so typically at that point, you get freaked out. You're like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, you have to exercise. You have to start lifting weights. You have to train accordingly and everything.
Lifestyle changes. Really.
Exactly. And it's really one of those things, don't want to wait till it reaches that point.
Right.
Of course, once it reaches that point, there are things you can do. You can start training. You have people training here, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But really, as long as you get in at some point and you start lifting, and even if those words aren't thrown around you or anything, you're preventing it, or you're working to prevent it as much as possible.
Right.
And so it's the importance of, one, we got to get all the tissue around our body stronger. We got to get our muscles stronger, our tendons, ligaments, bones, and it responds very well to heavy weights. What I mean by that is when you are looking at trying to, just like bone remodeling, get your bones stronger and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It seems complicated if you think about it, but really it's if you pick up a heavy weight, you're telling your body, hey, that was tough. How do we make that easier? And it's like, I know how to make it easier. We just send a signal, start building the muscle up over there, start building the bone up over there. So you will have this bone remodeling occur.
Yeah. And it's all about creating the most stability too. So like when we go really heavy, a lot of times you're having to engage so many different muscles in your body that you might not have to fully engage on a lighter weight because you're focusing more about maybe tempo and repetition and cardio or something like that. But when you're holding if you're holding a 50-pound goblet squat dumbbell in front of you, you're having to engage your chest, your arms, your back, your core. Everything is working so hard.
So the intensity is way up there, especially
the force you're producing
as we're lifting heavier. Yes.
Yeah, the force you're producing to have to lift heavy like this is way higher.
And that's the next point is so we kind of tackled we're lifting heavier, we're getting the stress on the bones, we're building stronger bones, okay? Yeah. We also have to talk about producing force, okay? So when we are lifting heavy, we have to produce a lot of force to pick that up. And I know it seems silly to talk about and everything, but really it's the easiest way to explain this is like falls. Okay, the most common thing you hear with older people, or as you get older,
trip, you stumble.
You trip. Yeah, exactly. That causes a lot of death. It can cause a lot of injury. And so one, if you have brittle bones, you trip, you fall.
It could get serious really fast.
It could get serious very quick because you get put into bed, you get put in a hospital, you're out for a few months. What are you not doing for those few months? You're not lifting, you're not training. So what's happening?
You're not putting any force on your body if you're
your
not
bones
able
are
to
getting
walk.
your bones are getting weaker, your muscles are getting weaker. So it's this very bad cascading effect there.
Yeah.
That, like I said, we always want to get ahead of. But when we're talking about producing force, think about a slip. Okay, so it's like when you slip and you kind of have to catch your footing, you have to kind of slam into the floor with your leg.
Or brace yourself.
Brace yourself. That's a lot of force. You don't think about it. Again, especially when you're younger, like that's nothing. As you start to age, that force, if the body's not trained, is a lot.
like
There's a lot of momentum.
You might not be bracing correctly,
Right.
and so it causes an injury.
Yeah, so
you might not fall really hard to the floor, but even if you try to catch yourself and your knee twists weird because your ligaments might not have that stability and strength supporting your knee, it could go sideways.
Yeah, so that's why we also have to be challenging our body to say, hey, normally we're used to producing this much force,
Right.
you know? As we load the weight up even heavier, we drop the reps and everything, you can lift more weights. The body's like, whoa, this is a lot more than normal.
Yeah,
but
it's
still,
like you're getting your body ready for like anything.
Yeah,
You know?
and-
It's like, I'm ready for anything.
so that you get the signal there of like, oh, the body now knows you can produce this much force. So now
Right.
it knows, oh, we're capable of this, which when we're doing 12 reps, 10 reps, 8 reps, you would tell yourself, I can't do that. You know,
Yeah.
like you can't do it until you try.
Yeah.
But
it's almost like we're always trying to keep your body on their toes.
Exactly.
You know, which, pun intended.
You-
But, but we're always trying to like keep your body surprised almost
Right.
to not get too comfortable doing one thing, which is, we've talked about before why we change up these reps, why we're doing all these different things. It's that we don't want to get your body to be so comfortable doing the same thing over and over
and we
over
still
again.
cover all our bases and we give enough time in each phase that's like you're really perfecting this movement, you're
Yeah.
perfecting this rep range.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so we're lifting heavier, we're able to produce all this force that, and all of this still, yes, it's accounting for the longevity of things, your bones and the falls and all that stuff, but
Right.
really it's improving your lifts. As we come out of this
Yeah.
phase, we go to the 12s, we go to the 10s, you're going to be stronger. Your body
Yeah.
is going to be used to lifting heavier weights. So it lets us kind of reassess
Yeah.
where we're at as we move on.
And the coolest part that I enjoy witnessing in the sixes as well is the confidence it builds when people realize like, oh my gosh, I just lifted a weight I never thought I was going to lift.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
like I never thought I was going to get over 100 pounds on a hip thrust
Mm-hmm.
or something, And then they realize like, oh, I can do this.
Right.
And then it kind of helps build that confidence and, security in the gym where you're like, oh, I can actually push myself a lot harder than maybe I was before.
Right.
Like now I know how it feels to really lift heavy because before I really was focusing on training like that, I was grabbing the same weights every time. Like,
yeah.
sure, I might be going to the gym and like, if you do enough of anything, you're going to get tired, So like if I'm doing just body weight squats, but I do 50 of them, I'm going to be tired.
Right.
But I've never thought like, oh, what if I grab a 50-pound
Let me go
weight
a lot heavier.
and that like what's that gonna do and
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh, I can do that, so I think that's the coolest part, witnessing the sixes
For sure.
and then the transition to the 12s right after. You might not have to go down a whole lot, so it's cool to see how much strength you're actually gaining, especially if you've been here for a while or you've made it through all of the phases. Like
Right.
you've done a 10, an 8, a 12, a
And then
6.
yeah.
So like it's cool to see once you get to the 6, like remember when you started, you could barely
You-
lift a
you
20-pound
couldn't
weight,
even lift a 10
and now
pounds.
you're at like 65, whatever
Right.
it is, like
Yeah.
it's cool to see.
And definitely with the 6 reps, it allows us to see a little more outside of the gym or when you're at home. I'm like, oh, again, I could pick this box up.
Yeah.
It's like, for 12s, we're going to be doing a lighter weight and everything.
Right.
So you might not be able to pick up that 50-pound box.
Right.
But we get to the 6s, you go through exactly the whole training phase and all that. You'd be like, oh, wow, I can see the strength outside of the gym now.
Right,
I can
right.
see that I can move these things, pick up these things. I could flip my room if you're a teacher and you're like, oh, I was able to move everything,
Right. And even today, someone told me like they put their bench back and they're like, this is the first time where I did that by myself with like no struggle.
Right.
Because these benches are kind of heavy.
I would say they're a
So-
little hefty for sure.
They're a little hefty if you're not really expecting it.
Right.
So that was cool to be, she was like, yeah, I put it away myself today.
Slowly but surely, the
and I
body's
was
just getting
like,
stronger.
that's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that,
So it's just, again, just seeing that the boost of confidence, you just really, again, confidence is a huge thing just
Yeah.
in life in general, and
Yeah.
you bring confidence into the gym,
Brings motivation back.
everything,
Yeah.
so now you get the positive and you're just in this great positive feedback loop there.
But we don't want to then think of the 6s as a breeze.
Yeah, I feel like
You
some
know?
people, again, they get excited for the 6s.
And I'm like, why are you getting so excited?
It's because they think low reps, I don't have to do a lot.
Yeah, they're like thinking I don't have to work as hard necessarily because it's less reps.
Right.
But when I do the 6, I do these workouts with you. When I do the 6s, I think I sweat the most at the 6s than I would at the 12s because in my mind, I'm like, oh, 12 reps. Can I hold this weight for that many reps? Oh, maybe I go too light.
Right.
But at the 6s, I'm like, okay, I could do the heaviest I've ever, like, let's get a new PR
Right.
today, you know? So
Super
I grabbed
intense. You're using
a
your
super
own- yeah.
intense weight and I'm dying. And so it's super important that we're taking our rest seriously in the sixes as well, because that's what's going to either make the sixes feel too easy because you're not resting enough, so you're not able to grab a heavier weight. If you want to dive more into
Yeah,
that.
so I guess we could label this as like training tips, right?
Yeah.
So one, if it's sixes and you grab the same weight you did for 10s or
Right.
12s, we got a problem. So training
Yeah.
tip number one, grab a heavier weight.
Yeah.
Again,
no matter what, we're gonna check the tablet for
we're
you
here,
too,
the coach is
so-
here. We're gonna make sure you're grabbing a heavier weight.
Yeah, I'm gonna double
But-
check your work.
Yeah, but make sure you're not just like, oh, I did 50 pounds last time. I'm gonna do 50 pounds. And it's like, no, you gotta go 55. You gotta go a little more.
at least.
Yeah. And then another tip too, especially in this phase, you shouldn't be breezing through it. You know, like
Right.
Sam was saying, you should be pushing yourself, and with that push should come some rest. You know, yes, we factor in how much time you have here and the exercises and everything. You have enough time though to adequately rest before your next set. So if you load up 100 pounds on the bench, you know, and that's 5 pounds more than what you did last time, and you get your 6 reps, cool. That means you've added weight. You can do it for 6. That's tough. If you go back right after your next exercise and you only get 4, to me, usually means, hey, you didn't rest long enough.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as take an extra 30 seconds. That's it. I'm not
Right.
saying take an extra 2 minutes, you know,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you just waited an extra 30 seconds, you would have gotten all 6 again.
Yeah.
But now you're like, only got 4. I need to lower the weights. And then it's like, no, we found the weight that was good for you.
Yeah.
We need the adequate recovery in between. And so start to play around with that. If you do a weight and you find, oh, I can only do 5 on the next one, take an extra 30 seconds than
Right.
you normally would. Okay, so yeah, you could be resting for a minute already. It's like take an extra 30 seconds if you're resting for 2.
Yeah.
And then see like, oh, actually I got all 6. You know, it works out
Yeah.
there. So a good training tip is, one, push yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but also make sure when you push yourself, you're giving your body time to rest.
Yes.
This is something new. You haven't lifted, like a lot of the times when we're lifting heavy weights, your body has never lifted this much weight before.
Yeah.
It's never lifted 105 pounds, which is a crazy thing to think about.
Right.
And so you can't just be like, oh, I've never lifted this before. Let me jump into it and I could jump in. It's like, no,
Yeah.
the body's got to recover. It's gonna be like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you should be taking the same amount of time in your workout as you would for any of the others. If anything, a longer amount of time.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're going to get out of here 10 minutes
like
earlier.
6 reps, I'm out of here in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Nah,
and
nah,
it's
nah,
if that's the
that's-
case, then
Uh-huh.
we have some talking to do.
Like maybe we'll give that to the if it's someone's first workout, but even if it's your first workout, you're not doing 6 reps.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, exactly.
But still, you know, it's a fun thing to look at this phase. So definitely, you know, appreciate the weights you're lifting. Appreciate how far you've come. Really, you know, click on the all-time button on your app and be like, scroll down and see what you did when you first started.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be surprised. You'll be like, oh wow.
If you've been here for a year, see where you were last June
Exactly.
and tell me where you are now.
Yeah. So it's fun to see slow progressions, and you know, sometimes things happen in between, so the weights might not change too much. You got injured, all this stuff, but it still always try to look at the progression there. Look at how
Yeah.
you're feeling. Look at the performance aspect. And with that, yeah, just keep lifting heavy this phase.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to lift heavy. We're here for 3 weeks, so.
All right. Get comfortable now.
Yeah.
Get out your comfort zone. That's all we got. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Later.